That's right. Take your turntable and throw it in the trash. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Oh, don't throw out your turntable. Oh, keep them. They're great. I hope I didn't damage it. To start off, I'm not a big fan of the word audiophile. I prefer audio enthusiast. The term audiophile has a polarizing effect among members of the hi-fi community, but I use the term in the thumbnail because we'll always get a reaction one way or another, so sorry about that. I'm calling out everyone who identifies as an audio enthusiast or audiophile, as well as the hi-fi reviewers out there on YouTube who neglect turntables and records. Haven't you noticed that turntables and records have been blowing up for over a decade now? They are a very hot topic. Why? Well, because they're awesome. The fascinating thing is that the generation who grew up with CDs, file sharing, and streaming, not records, is the generation who has greatly influenced the vinyl record renaissance. These music fans decided they want to own copies of the albums again. They are annoyed with how corporations are forcing us to consume music. Music is now devalued and commoditized in the extreme so that listening today lacks any significant physical or financial involvement and investment, which are two very important factors. Firstly, it's enjoyable to interact with physical media. And secondly, we do tend to appreciate and treasure things when we've spent our hard-earned money on them instead of getting things for free or almost free. Is streaming music more fun or engaging than listening to vinyl records? Not even close. I thought streaming was great at first, but as time has passed, my opinion has soured on it a bit. It's funny how I went from the excitement of, I've got every song in the world right here at my fingertips, to, I've got every song in the world right here at my fingertips. As a music discovery vehicle, streaming can be useful. But considering the tens of thousands of songs that are added each day, no human can hope of keeping up with that fire hose of tracks that are being uploaded weekly to the cloud servers. It's overwhelming. Can there be such a thing as too much choice? To me, it's become rather mindless and cold. Where's the love and passion with Tidal or Apple Music? It's just a lot of algorithms and playlists based on what you're doing and your mood at the time. Artists and albums barely matter anymore. And most users barely listen to a whole album. It's just a continuous stream of individual singles by various performers. And deep tracks are neglected. Unless you go to a playlist called Deep Tracks, they even have an algorithm for that. And songs are actually composed now to quickly grab your attention because the performer knows that they won't get paid a royalty unless at least 30 seconds of a track has been played. No time for a creative intro. Talk about the tail wagging the dog. Remember, you're using an app when you're streaming. And what is the purpose of most apps? To keep you engaged, just like Facebook and Instagram. They're like, hey, don't go. How about this track? How about this artist? How about this playlist? Let me ask you, are you a bit intimidated by the whole process of getting started or coming back to vinyl records? Have you become so comfortable with streamers, headphones, and DACs that you don't want to come across as a newbie with a turntable? Hopefully this video will help. If you only download high-res files or stream music with your top-notch gear and enjoying the experience, I understand. It's easy, it sounds good, it weighs nothing, takes up no space in your home, and you get it for only a few cents a day. Well, music is pretty much free now, really. So why would anyone want to go from that to adding the prospect of spending hundreds or thousands of dollars on new hi-fi gear along with a medium that's not portable, it's heavy, bulky, and dusty like vinyl records? Sounds kind of crazy, huh? Well, that's actually what I used to think. It started a few years ago when I spotted a nice Technics turntable for sale locally at a great price. And on a whim, I bought it. And the seller even threw in like 20 classic albums. And then I found a couple weeks later myself nervously entering a local record shop and shuffling over to the used album aisle. And my fingers trembled as the old muscle memory came back as I flipped through rows of record sleeves. And I was surprised and delighted by the experience. And as weeks and months passed, I found myself exploring other locations far and wide to buy records. Now look at me. I'm totally consumed with them. My record collection has grown exponentially with no sign of slowing down. This aspect of the pastime has substantially enriched my appreciation for audio gear and recorded music. I truly wish I'd started years earlier. When I decide to listen to an album on one of my turntables, I become more thoughtful while choosing which record to take out. I know a lot of vinyl lovers go on about looking at the cover images and reading the sleeve. Yes, that's great and all, but more importantly, I actually focus better on the music when a record is playing. I'm consuming that album as a whole, side A and then side B. Yes, you can do that while streaming, but it kind of happens automatically without thinking about it with a record. I believe I've heard all the objections to vinyl, and many of those objections have a degree of validity, but each one can be overcome if we're willing to make the effort. Here are a few, but not all of the most common objections I've heard.
Records and turntables are obsolete and old technology.
Yes, they are old technology, very old. The various engineers who developed and innovated turntables and records over the decades were absolute geniuses. Turntables are just cool to look at. Most everything they do is right there out in the open for you to see. They are physical, kinetic devices that are subject to the laws of gravity and physics, just like you and me. Very little of what they do is hidden away inside a box. Turntables, cartridges, and record pressing technology was figured out by the 1970s, and the modern devices we use today are based upon the principles of those original designs. And you can buy a 50 or 60-year-old phonograph that performs as well or better than a brand new model, which is amazing. Additionally, many records pressed during the 1950s and 60s can hold their own today compared to modern recordings, as they still sound great. They knew what they were doing back then.
Records are a nostalgia thing, not a relevant audiophile or high-end format anymore.
Well, that's partially true. Older folks like me remember when vinyl was pretty much all there was. We discovered music by listening to the radio and buying records. But what about young people today who only remember iPods and streaming music? They're the ones who are buying tons of albums. That's not nostalgia. And I totally disagree that they are no longer a serious audiophile format. At hi-fi shows that I've been to, there are numerous ultra high-end systems on display featuring incredible turntables that are priced like luxury automobiles. To my ears, they actually sound superior to the digital files being played. In fact, I would argue that they are the most pure audiophile component and format there is.
They are noisy and distorted compared to digital.
Yes, a dirty and worn scratch record can sound bad, but a clean, well cared for or new record can sound superb with very little noise or pops. If the turntable is set up properly, the amount of audible distortion is negligible.
Turntables are complicated.
Yes and no. Turntables are simultaneously simple and complex. Their job is simple, but how they do it can be extraordinarily complex. Each individual part of the turntable interacts with each other part to a certain degree. Some models are more or less plug and play with minimal setup required. But a true enthusiast would not bother with one of those. If you call yourself an audiophile, you will need to learn the ins and outs of turntable setup. That includes cartridge mounting, tone arm adjustment, and maintenance. And then there's a lot more to know and learn on top of that. It all depends on how deep you want to dive. And it's an enormous topic to geek out on.
Records are imperfect, and they can get damaged, dirty, and lose their shape.
Yes, indeed. And so does everything else you own. Your car, your house, or your clothes. Physical objects are subject to defects, wear, damage, neglect, abuse, and the effects of the environment. Records are actually surprisingly robust. The PVC vinyl is very stable and doesn't deteriorate even after decades. A well-cared-for album can still sound like new, even after many, many plays. But to me, the absolute best aspect of the whole turntable and records thing is, I guess you can call it the vinyl community. Yes, you can stay at home and buy new vinyl from various online retailers or order used ones from sellers on eBay or Discogs, and that's fine, I do it on occasion, but really, where's the fun in that? You can't beat the experience of getting out of the house and visiting record shops and flipping through their racks, crates, and boxes. And when I go to record stores and fairs, there is often a wide age demographic of individuals flipping through the racks with a surprisingly high ratio of female shoppers. It's not just old farts like me out there. People are gladly spending their money for the albums by the artists they love, and the sellers are making money to support their families. It's a joyous and vibrant atmosphere. I really enjoy finding record stores when I go out of town or when I'm on vacation outside of Florida. You never know what you're going to find, and I found some great stuff out there in the wild. But when you start seeking the more difficult to find albums due to rarity or high demand, that's when you enter the realm of the thrill of the hunt. That's when you come across a wow album, perhaps one you've never seen before in person, a first UK pressing, an original promo copy, a super clean example still in the shrink wrap, or it's even sealed. It can be a thrilling and memorable moment, and also a bit addictive, if I'm honest. When is the last time you had an interesting conversation with a stranger about an album you heard on Spotify, or a CD that you bought? It's probably been quite a while. But I've enjoyed many fantastic chats with enthusiasts and even made a few friends while out looking for records. And we enjoy sharing our knowledge as well as fishtales of our big scores and amazing finds. And I'm not even going to get into our conversations about like import pressings, half-speed mastering, master tapes, dead wax, white label promos, colored and virgin vinyl, picture discs, mastering engineers, pressing plants, grading, and record store day. The digital side of things doesn't have anything near as interesting as what you'll find with the analog stuff. And there are also many Facebook groups you can engage with, and YouTube channels, and online forums devoted to records where you can learn the width and breadth of the many aspects of analog music. So there you have it, some of the best reasons for joining me and the millions of enthusiasts worldwide to the captivating universe of turntables and vinyl record collecting. No, it's not that simple or easy, and you may make a few mistakes along the way, but that's how you learn. I hope that you enjoyed this video and that it may have piqued your interest in records or got you to consider again how you actually consume music. And ask yourself if you really have maximized your enjoyment. Go ahead and hit the like and subscribe buttons, because if you made it this far, you must really dig what I say and do. You can support this channel by joining my Patreon for only $3 a month, And for that, you get early ad-free new videos, as well as other exclusive content. The link is below. And please share your own experiences in the comments. And I will include some affiliate links to recommended turntable models, cartridges, and various accessories below. Thanks again, and don't forget to enjoy your own devices. Bye.